Good Sunday morning, and welcome to Ag Talking Raw, where I talk raw about agriculture and other things that are on my mind. Last week, we talked about the triangle patch. This week, I'm not really sure what we're going to talk about. We're going to dive into the comments here and do a little bit of reading, and maybe, just maybe, we'll come up with a good topic. I did have to block an idiot on here, so he is gone. I know that he's just a troll from hell, and I'm tired of trolls from hell, so he did get blocked. And that's a pretty special place to be on my channels, is blocked, because I generally don't do it. But you know what? I'm doing it now. So anyway, okay. Yeah, FarmFlix. FarmFlix is sending me emails for some reason. I don't know why. A difference between you and Zach is the climate. Okay, so we're talking about the millennial farmer here. My climate, I'd take Zach's climate over this one any day, really, at this point in the year. It's hard, not impossible time of working out of your shop in Minnesota, which I don't envy that. Minnesota is a pretty tough place to live. Mid-November through March, I farm a couple hours northwest of Zach. We just finished a stretch of minus 20 degree temps and wind chills of minus 40. We do get the minus 20 wind chill temperatures, not minus 40s, but we have had minus 20 wind chill temperatures. We do dabble with below zero temperatures from time to time, not nearly as often as Minnesota. But to each region presents its own set of unique problems. Nobody wants to live in Minnesota. I mean, really, honestly, who wants to live out in the middle of that type of weather? There's a lot of people that are a bunch of pussies that couldn't handle it. And they just kind of move south to Florida or wherever they go. Florida, now Arizona, I hear, is being destroyed by migration to the warmer climates and things like that. But I do have buildings to put all my equipment in. I don't know where, not all of it, but about 90% of it. Mostly the high dollar iron equipment is put inside, not in one great big building, but 3-4 separate smaller ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 separate smaller buildings. And so I don't understand why this building thing has become such a hot topic for me. It's like, oh, you need to build this big building to put all your equipment under one roof. Well, I have 5 different roofs, and if one of them catches on fire, I only lose what was in that building, not the whole fucking mess. So yeah, and I know Zach has more than one building. I've seen it. I watch his stuff. I like Zach. I don't know why people think that I'm being down on him. I'm not being down on him at all. As a matter of fact, I enjoy his commentary. I mean, there's a few things that he does that kind of makes me cringe from time to time, but it's generally chemical safety issues, not so much the equipment safety. I mean, we all take risks. I mean, people see me take risks more often than they do anybody else because I post daily on my other channel. So if you're only posting 1 to 2 to 3 videos a week, and you edit out those risks that you take, I've done some things that made me very uneasy to do, but I did it and I posted it because I have a daily vlog. That's probably the very largest issue between me and Zach and How Farms Works and some of the other larger channels. Yes, I say larger channels. I've passed 100,000. I never thought I would make that goal. I never really cared to. I mean, once I saw that it was in my sights, I was like, wow, let's go for this 100,000. And then I was passed by several different channels now. And the reason I was passed by these several different channels isn't because of the content so much. Well, I guess it is to the content. I post more than average. Way more than average. I mean, average is like 1 to 2 videos a week. 1 point something videos a week is the average of all YouTube, where I'm posting daily. I mean, I'm the guy that brings the average up, not down. And, yeah, hold on a second while I drink from my John Deere mug. Ag Talking Raw mug, because, on the other channel I use my I solemnly swear that I'm up to no good. Might have to change that up a little bit. So yeah, there's just huge differences in the channels. I don't care to go any farther, to be honest with you. I mean, if people don't want to subscribe to me, that's fine. I just want people to watch, and it'd be nice to get a subscriber, but if they're just gonna subscribe and then not watch, what's the point in that? And I've seen some extraordinarily large million subscriber channels that fail to get 2,000 to 3,000 views in a week on their stuff now because they had a niche market when they first started and then they never evolved with it. I'm trying to evolve with what I'm doing. I mean, that's just the way it is. So somebody put it very, very nicely on here. They're like, the brighter the burn, the faster the burn. The brighter a flame burns, the faster it burns out, which is absolutely true. I mean, you can see it in Hollywood all the time. The brighter the star, the sooner it's gone. Look at Lindsay Lohan. I mean, back in the 90s, she was what do you call it? A superstar, teen star or whatever, a young actress, and now she's 33 and looks like she's older than me because she's just everywhere. But yeah, you have stuff like that. Now, I'm not saying that these guys are going to burn out faster, but I do this as a daily routine. I was a dairy farmer, This is just like getting up and pulling tits, especially right now, because if you know anything about gurgle or gobble my balls and ad revenue, right now, my channel, my One Lonely Farmer channel, is producing somewhere between $170 and $230 a day. So just say $200 a day. Yeah, just say $200 a day. I was producing $200 a day for the last 5-6 months. You know what I'm making now? About $80 a day. That's it. So more than it was like a 45% drop. So yeah, there you go. No, 55% drop. More than 55% drop. Probably 65% drop in revenue. But I'm still here and I'm still making the videos because I really didn't start it to make money. Now that I have made money, it's nice. But the money that I make is my fun money. So if I don't make enough money, I don't have much fun. So there you go. I have used that money to pay lawyers and stuff during my what do you call it? My lawsuit that I had against me from my ex-wife, not New Holland, by the way. New Holland never sued me. I have a lot of people saying that, there's a rumor going around that One Lonely Farmer's been sued by New Holland, which is not in the least bit true. If anyone was going to be sued, it would be New Holland by me for the shit equipment that they sold me. I mean, I'm sure I've stepped up to the line a couple of times and they'd like to sue me, but they just didn't have anything to get me with. But no, sorry about your luck. Okay, what you said about listening to your family is very true. My cousin begged me not to marry my now ex-wife. When she left for another man, when he found out, he told me, it took 30 years, but I was right, LOL. That's funny. It took 30 years. Okay, so you were married for 30 years, and then she did that? She was 18 and I was 21 when we got married, and like you, I was happy and would have stayed with her the rest of my life, but after 30 years, she decided she wasn't happy anymore, and, oh, fuck. Can you believe I just did that? Let me get down there again. I just hit the wrong button. She met a boy she had known in high school on the internet and left me for him. It's been 5 years now since she left. It hurt like hell at first and caused problems with my 2 sons and me. Now I'm happy as hell, and I see my 2 sons every day on the farm with me. Cool. So yeah, I mean, it can happen at any time. I mean, people change. I mean, people definitely change from day to day. We all go through that cycle of every 7 years there's a major change in your body. I mean, you can have a guy like me that's slim or I'd say muscularly built, and in 7 years' time, something can switch hormonally or not genetically, but hormonally or within your body, and the next thing you're fat and blind. You just don't even know. life throws you curveballs. Look at my brother-in-law. Here's a guy who's 55 years old, and 9 months ago he was healthy. Really didn't have too much trouble other than a cholesterol problem, and his blood pressure was a little out of control, and now he's dead. Thank you, doctors. Thank you, doctors. That's what we really need to do is, if we're not feeling good, we go for help and they kill you. There you go. Real nice. So if you're taking a statin, get off that shit right now. What you need for a lighting solution is a ring light. Never heard of it. I don't deal with Amazon because Bamazon is kind of expensive if you really go down to it, get down to it. I've bought stuff from Amazon using Teresa's Amazon account, and it comes in its Chinese junk, and Carl, he's good at it. He buys a lot of stuff from Amazon, and it's here the next day, and some of it is really good stuff, but some of it's really not good stuff. I don't even have an Amazon account, so I generally use eBay because I have control over what I want to pay, Oh, I really enjoy your videos, Wes. You're straight up, nothing sugar-coated, and as for the trolls, fuck them. They're just useless fucks with no lives and have nothing else to do. That could be true. I think they do have other things to do other than be trolls. The problem is they're not motivated to do those other things. They're motivated to be assholes or trolls. And I'd just like to know where Internet Troll came from. Where did the name Internet Troll? I mean, I don't know. Nice talk, very addictive to listen to you. Well, thank you. I guess most of the guys are here to listen and not look. I mean, this is basically a podcast only on YouTube, which is fine. So I'm going to kind of stray from the comments here a little bit and talk about the weather outside and what it's looking like for next year's crops and other things. It is ungodly wet. Yesterday was another 2 inches of rain. You see, years ago, we used to get a quarter of an inch, a half an inch, an inch, weekly. Every other week you'd get an inch and a half of rain. If you can come up with 4 inches of rain in a month in the summertime, that'd be great. It keeps corn and soybeans and hay growing. But now it isn't like that. It's like 1 inch, 2 inch, or 3 inches. No quarter inches, no drizzles or, little showers going through. The mud is so deep out there that the wagons on a slight hill, the wagons with hay on them, when I'm pulling them off the piles, they just absolutely just go sideways. So, and we're looking at more rain for this coming weekend. The polar vortex is sitting up there, I guess. I guess if the millennial farmer has had, minus 20 degree weather, it's coming this way. I don't want the snow. I can't have the snow. So I'm hoping for a high pressure system and cold air, like a high pressure cold front to come through and freeze everything. Like, freeze. I don't mind putting on winter wear. I mean, I'm running around in sweatshirts, for Christ's sake. Sweatshirts and lined pants. I have not put on my bib overhauls yet. And I've been outside pretty much all the time. Okay, here's a guy, KJ74. My grandfather always used to tell me from age 7 or so, women run the card game of life. They hold all the aces between their legs. At 7 he was telling you this? Grandpa, you're pretty rude. So what did I do? I got married to my high school sweetheart. I was 19, she was 18. That's the same age I was and my ex-wife was when we got married. That was in 1975. You do the math. We had 3 children, lost our youngest son at age 20 in a horrific weather-related car crash, a tornado. Oh my God. Along with his fiancée and 4 of 6 members of another family in the other vehicle involved. 2 children between the ages of 8 at the time survived as paraplegics. The missus and I celebrated our 43rd anniversary this past October. I guess by your visage, we beat the odds, right? I agree. Keep up the excellent channels, Wes. Enjoy them and the various rants, etc. And great deal. A great deal. Okay, you etc. At a great deal. Okay, a great deal. All right, blah blah blah. I'm just kind of scatterbrained. My coffee hasn't kicked in yet. Yes, you have beat the odds. I will tell you, and I think I did respond to this one. I will tell you that you did beat the odds. My mom and dad, they're married for 50 years. 50 years. They beat the odds. They got married in 68. My sister Wendy was born in 69. My sister Holly was born in November of 70 or 71. I was born in 72. So, yeah, 71, 70. I was born in 72. Anyway, my sister Holly and Wendy were pretty close in age. About 11 months. I don't know what the hell happened to the last paragraph of my comment. I edited it to what I entered. Fucking Google word spell. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah. Anyway, as far as growing corn this year, yes, I have every intention of growing anywhere between 100 to 400 acres of corn. I don't think I'm going to get 400 acres of corn in the ground, but if I do, that's, great. It's not going to be, I doubt I only put in 100 acres. I doubt that. I'm looking to put in corn for corn fodder, so I'm going to be using probably a silage variety of some sort, high-yielding silage variety, which will give me plenty of fodder. And, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I like a high test weight corn, though, so there you go. I agree with everything you say about life and women. I, too, changed after going through a divorce. Not so innocent afterwards, but if you wouldn't alienate so many viewers and do a little more panhandling like the millennial farmer, you, too, would have over 200,000 subscribers. I agree with that. I do agree with that to a point. If an equipment company comes to me, I spell it out to them, the good, the bad, the ugly. Nobody wants to know so much the things that you like about a tractor. That's not at the top of the list. For a real farmer, somebody that's actually in the market to buy a piece of equipment, they want to know what's going to break. They want to know what's not going to work out so well. That's what they're really looking at, because for all intent and purposes of this piece of equipment, you want it to last as long as possible. Now, engineers that design this equipment, they design it to fail. They want it, I'm not saying so much a tractor, but implements. They want it as light as possible because that's less steel. They want it as light as possible to last just long enough that the customer thinks they've got their money's worth out of it. So, and that's a fine line. When I spend $100,000 or $200,000 on a piece of equipment, it's like, okay, I'd really like this thing to last me 25 years. I mean, it's a long time because you've got that much money into it. 200,000. I mean, 20 years. Just say 20 years at $200,000. I mean, that's a lot of freaking money to on a yearly basis. And you don't expect it to last forever without breaking, but you do expect it to last a long time without breakage. Now, I have been disappointed by pieces of equipment that I bought. H&S, that H&S wheel rake, that 14-16-60 wheel rake, 14-16-60. Okay, so it was either a 14 or a 16 wheel rake with a 60-inch wheel. I love the wheels. I love the capacity of the rake. I hated the turning radius, and it started to break apart after 4 or 5 years. And the fucking thing was over $25,000. So 4 or 5 years and $25,000 to rake the hay that I rake didn't seem to last too long. It was an asshole to take down the road. It was just terrible. Now the New Holland, I had an 18-wheel New Holland. That thing just pulled hay in like there's no tomorrow. It didn't work out so well. It wouldn't have worked out so well with the self-propelled windrowers, because I'd have been putting too much in a windrow. And those New Holland balers that I had were very, very limited. I liked the 18-wheel rake. It did a good job. But all in all, again, the weight of it actually caused its demise. It started to break apart. Now you get my little carded rakes that I use. They're cheap, $700 to $7,500. Bought. I think I got 3 of them now. $71 to $7,500 a piece. They're light. They're fast. They're easy. They do have their flaws. Don't get me wrong. They do have their flaws. But if I get 2 years out of a $7,000 rake that I can easily repair and replace the parts on it cheaply, I'm going that route. The other rakes, those beams that broke in there, oh my God, they were thousands of dollars a piece. Whereas these little rakes, the little carded rakes, well, hell, I redid one rake with the new knuckles, and I don't know, I think I fixed that for like $900, the whole entire thing, and it looked like it was new. I did add stuff to them. I did reinforce stuff. So when you know there are limitations and you know there are faults, and you add maybe, I don't know, I think I had about $400 worth of steel that I purchased to stiffen up the backbone of this thing, and some of the other things that I did. There you go. I know that rake is going to last me 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. I'm sure I'll get 6 years out of it easy after that. So yeah, I voided the warranty. This spring, that brand new hay rake, it split right in half. Wow, what a nightmare! How stupid was that? But they came out, put a new piece in. I promptly took it back to the farm, cut the end of it off, and slid a piece of tubing inside of it and welded it. Me and Cody did it. And Tim and Cody did it. I don't think Joe was there for that one. And we just torched the end, cut the end off, slid it in, right? Slid it in, bored holes in the side. Maybe it was me and Tim did most of that. Bored holes in the side of it, slid it in there, and bzz, 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 welded it up nice and solid. Ground them flat, painted over it. You can't hardly even tell what I had done. I had no problems with that rake whatsoever this year. None. It was perfect. So, yeah. And getting back to those pieces of equipment and Zach. So, all right. So the Millennial Farmer, he got a Challenger tractor, right? And the first video that he did on the Challenger tractor, he's like, "Wow, I like this tractor a lot. It's quiet in here, and it's this and it's that and the other thing." Now, I am a victim of this. Only difference was I purchased the piece of equipment, and I liked it the first day, but it was the biggest piece of shit known to mankind, and that was the No Rower 240. All right, the No Rower 240. That thing was just absolutely useless. So the first video that Millennial Farmer did on that Challenger was, "Hey, I love this thing. I think it's quieter and blah, blah, blah." And then he used it for the rest of the season, which is one thing that I will tell every manufacturer that contacts me what they want. And this is the God's honest truth. When they come to me, they're like, "Hey, we're going to send you this thing, and we'd like you to make a video within the first week of you using it." WD-40 did that to me, and I never did receive any payment from them. I told them, send me enough product that I can use it for a couple of months, and I'll let you know my honest opinion. And they were like, "Oh, okay." So they sent me the product. I used the product. They wanted results instantly. You can't do a product review instantly. That shit don't work. I'm sorry. It just doesn't cut the mustard. You can't do a review like that. So, anyhow, yeah. Hold on a second. I've got an idea here. How's that? As dumb as this is my computer screen. If I brighten it up, now you can see how I have blue eyes. Anyway, wow, that actually worked really well. Okay, so anyway, the other equipment companies that I've dealt with over, the years, with the exception of Peckway. Peckway said, "Here, just use these things and do a review when you feel you're ready to do a review." I was like, well, okay, if I have a problem, I'm going to tell you about it first, and then, because they were honest about what they wanted me to do. And I had been in contact with them quite a bit. The hay rake was a little less, I was a little less impressed with the hay rake than I than I expected to be. And that's why you don't see me use the Peckway rake only in certain situations. Actually, the situations that you see me use it in are the ideal situation for most small hay producers, which that rake was designed for. It wasn't designed for people like me that dump 30 feet of hay, heavy, wet, not wet, but heavy hay into a windrow and then just rake it. This is meant for a guy with a 9-10, maximum 12-foot mower, and those rakes work great. For second cut, slick as snot. I mean, the field is clean, and it works really well. I really do like the rake a lot. It's durable, with the exception of some hydraulic hoses. I did have some issues with hydraulic hoses, but yes, it is durable enough to handle the demands of small hay production. It's a mid-capacity hay rake. It says right on the side of it, the mid-cap rake. I like the rake. So, moving on, the spreader, awesome. Wish it was a bigger one. That's the only thing I can say. I think it does a fine job with what I'm using it for. I used it a lot for potash and sulfur, and I use a blend of potash and ammonium sulfate. That's what I'm using. I need the sulfur, and so that's why I'm using the ammonium sulfate. So there's this blend of fertilizer that I'm using to boost my yields with potash, because you cannot continue to take potash off the hay off the field without replacing potash. It will shoot your own foot off. So there you go. So that equipment, I've used it. I have done reviews on it. The tedder, second to none, the best damn tedder I've ever used. I have, for the lack of content on those pieces of equipment, is that they don't break. The spreader hasn't broke. I use the spreader in my videos because I sell spreaders for Peckway. People come to my channel and they come to YouTube and they're like, hey, let's just check out one of these spreaders and see what it's doing. And there you go. It's spreading and it's working and it's doing what it's supposed to do. It doesn't work so well with compost. I will tell you that. Peckway does sell a compost spreader, but it isn't. This isn't it. That just didn't work out so well. I really wanted to get gypsum in and spread gypsum, or even, eggshells is what I was really intending on getting, and it's next to impossible for me to get those. I did have a fellow send me a link to Cracker where I could probably get eggshells from. It's up in New York, but the hauling is another thing. So, yeah. Yeah, so eggshells and that stuff. So, but getting back to these other farming channels that get equipment, I really put my this stuff that they send me, through the ringer. Therefore, I spell it out to them at the beginning of the conversation, like, hey, this is what I'm going to do to your equipment, and I'm going to use it for a while, and like a month or a month and a half before I actually make a review. I will say, hey, this is what so-and-so sent me, and this is what I'm going to do to it, and I'll talk to you again in about a month. And I do, and I'm pretty honest about what I've done, and equipment manufacturers don't want that. New Holland wanted me, New Holland was happy to sell me that no-rower, and they were happy about the first video that I did on it because it had leather seats, the cab was nice and clean, it was a little bigger, it seemed a little bigger than what the previous model was. The damn thing was cool. But after running it for a couple of weeks, my dad wouldn't even run it. He says, I can't run this thing, this is killing my neck. I mean, he couldn't even turn his neck after a while. He was so beat up from that mower, he wouldn't even run it. He said, give me the old case back. He said, I can't mow. I can't deal with this thing. So, yeah. So the rest is history, obviously. You know the rest of the story. And the many, many, many videos following that ordeal, or that first video. So the next video that Zach did with his Challenger, was a little different tone. And he liked it, don't get me wrong, and he thought it was a great tractor, and I honestly do too. I think it was. But when he did the comparison where he was flipping his hats from one to the other and talking about the John Deere versus the Challenger, and how the Challenger is rated at 400 some horses and the John Deere is rated at 300 and some horses, and the John Deere seemed to have a lot more torque than what the Challenger had, and the John Deere was a little bit rougher in the field, but the Challenger had a lot more hydrostatic whine, whereas the John Deere didn't. So he said that the cab was cleaner, or the cab, not cleaner, the cab was quieter, but yet he said something about the hydrostatic whine. Well, if you're hearing a hydrostatic whine that's in the cab, you're in the cab, you know. Yeah. So those were the differences. And honestly, when you look at the two tractors, I bleed green, so the green one looks beautiful to me anyway. But he said that it just looks cool. Now, if you're buying a tractor because it just looks cool, you shouldn't be buying a tractor. I think the John Deere looks cool too. I have them. You know, I don't have his style tractors. I haven't bought one that new yet. But the John Deere tractors. But now looks aren't everything. I mean, I remember when the new 8000 series John Deere tractor came out, the 81, 2, 300, and then the following year the 8400 came out, or maybe even later in the year. But the 81, 2, and 300 John Deere tractors, my grandmother, we're talking 1994 here, late 94. My grandmother and my dad were like, "Did you see the new John Deere tractor? I don't think I'd ever buy that. It's ugly." Well, I find the 8000 series to be works of beauty. It was a shock because they were so much different from the 60 series, the 55 if you're in Europe, but the 60 series, that, you know, it was a shock to look at it. But getting up close to the machine, you know, looking at pictures is one thing, but when you got up close to the machine, I remember going to a meeting down in Vineland, and they had an 8400 there, and I was like, "Oh my goodness! Look at the cast on this thing. I mean, it was cast iron from tip to tail. I mean, it was just this impressive tractor." And I remember going back home and telling my grandmother, like, you know, that tractor may have been ugly, but that thing is built like a brick shit house. I mean, it's built to take abuse. And she says, "I don't care. I don't like the looks of it." You know, I was like, "Well, okay, whatever, Grammy." You know, my grandmother's a piece of work sometimes. But, yeah, so the 8400 was what was there, and it had new tires on it. It was shiny. It was beautiful. Now I look back at it, at the 8400 or the 8300, or even the 10 series, 81, 210, you know, 82, 310, and, of course, then they came out with the 85. 20, you know, the following series. But I look at those 8 and 10 series tractors and I think, you know, I like the look of those tractors. I think they're sexy. You know, I think when I look at that tractor, I'm like, you know, when that came out, we all thought they were ugly looking tractors, but looking at them today, I like the looks of them. I really do. And I've looked for an 8400, a reasonably priced 8400, because a reasonably priced 8400 has more snap to it than what the 8120 has, obviously. And I need a good, cheaper four-wheel drive tractor to run this second Krone baler, because the 8120 just doesn't have it. I was there. I repurposed that tractor to run that loader, and it's like, man, I need it for that. I need it for this straw job. I don't have the money to buy it. I am tapped out right now. Unless I get the rest of my hay made, I am tapped out. But I have about 5,000 more bales of hay to make this year. So, Zach, send me your weather, please. I need that cold weather. Keep the snow. Just send me the frost. The frozen weather is what I need. I mean, I need to mow, bake, and bale. All I need is like three weeks of solid cold weather. And, baby, we are done. I mean, we will be done. The new stack wagon, what is today? Today's the 6th. I will be out at the York Farm Show. I'm planning for the 9th. I might be there the 8th. I might be there 2 days. I don't know. But I'm planning to be at the York Farm Show on the 9th. And if you see me there, shake my hand, talk to me a little bit, but let me go on to see the equipment, because the last couple of times I've gone to a farm show, I can't see anything. I get bombarded by people, and believe me, I love to talk and I love to meet people and fans and stuff, but I still would like to see the equipment. So yeah, I'll probably be wearing this ProAg design hat because that is my ProAg stack wagon that's at the York Farm Show. That's mine. The bale grab and the stacker are both mine. I've bought them. They're paid for. Well, at least the bank paid for them. I got to pay the bank back, but that's just the way that works. Yeah. So anyway, what else was I going to talk about here? Yeah, we hear you. We really don't need to see you. Well, you're seeing me now. Yeah. Yep. Okay, James Pollock. Years ago, I used to help my uncle on his farm. He had rented fields all over the place and often needed help getting equipment to the fields. I was only about 14, so I couldn't drive the truck, but I could drive the tractors, which isn't entirely true. I would drive the tractor, and he would follow in the truck and bring me back to get another tractor. I used to pull off when traffic was behind us and let them go by. He said, "The hell with them. Make them wait. Don't pull over for them." So after that, I didn't pull over. One day, we drove a few tractors to the local fair for the tractor pull. I drove the slowest one home, and he followed in the fastest one home. Well, the fair was letting out about the same time, and we had traffic backed up for at least 5 or 6 miles. Finally, he passed me and motioned for me to pull over, which I did. And we let the cars go by for at least a half an hour. He asked me why I didn't pull over earlier. And I said, "Well, you always told me not to." He said, "Well, there is extremes to everything, LOL." And I love that comment this James Pollock comment. I love that because, as children or young men, we try to do what our peers or our mentors or our parents tell us to do. And like he says at the end, there's extremes to everything. So, and I have done this. I mean, I have had lines of traffic. I live in New Jersey, for Christ's sakes. 5 miles? That ain't nothing, man. We can back them up for 10 if we really worked at it. And it doesn't take that long. So anyways, I've done this and pulled over and then sat there and waited. And I pull over and I sit there and I wait, and every once in a while, one of them will wave, "Thank you," and another one will go, "Fuck you." And that's really, that one person that goes, "Fuck you," ruins it for all the people that say, "Hi, thank you," because I don't do it anymore. James, if there's 10 miles of cars behind me, yay. I'll make the news. I have made the news. You want to know when I made the news? I believe it was 2008. I was driving a combine from Tamaqua, Pennsylvania, all the way to New Jersey. Yeah, 65 miles I drove that combine because they didn't have time to put it on a truck and drive and haul it down. They said, "We don't have time. You're going to have to do it yourself." I was like, "Well, fill up the fuel tank. I'll get home." They put a new belt on the drives, and I took off for home at 17 miles per hour. I'm on Route 22. Yes, Route 22 in Allentown, Pennsylvania, when the cops got me. They pulled me into the median, and they're like, "What the fuck are you doing?" It was Halloween. "What are you doing? What are you doing? You can't do this." I'm like, "Well, why not? Everybody else does." "Well, no, you can't do this." I had traffic backed up. Channel 69 News had a thing. "There's a combine harvester on Route 22, Halloween, blocking traffic up for 15 miles. I wasn't blocking traffic up. I was on the shoulder. I wasn't in the fast lane. I was on the shoulder heading home. And they're like, "Where are you going?" I was like, "I'm going home." "Where's home?" "It's in New Jersey." "You're going all the way to Jersey with this thing?" I was like, "Well, yeah." And no, you're not. Made me pull it into the police station. And it had to sit there until the next morning at sunup. I was allowed to take it at sunup because I wasn't cutting soybeans in Pennsylvania. I had purchased it and brought it home. And the law specifically states, if you are actively farming, you can leave from one farm to another farm 24 hours a day. It doesn't make any difference. But in Pennsylvania, if you are leaving from, say, a dealership or whatever, you cannot drive that thing all night long. You can only drive it from one working field to another working farm. So they pulled me over. 7 o'clock the next morning, I was at the police station with my friend Larry, and we fired that bad boy up, and down through the middle of the city of Bethlehem we went, because they weren't going to let me back on 22. The city of Bethlehem police were like, they pull me over right down by the old steel mills, the Bethlehem steel mills. They're casinos now. What a shame. But anyways, the Bethlehem steel mill, they pull me over before I cross the bridge to go down by the old blast furnaces. And holy shit, cop gets out of the car. What are you doing? He's flipping out because I just went through his town. Well, it didn't make any difference. I mean, there was nobody on the roads at that time in the morning. It was like a Sunday, the day after Halloween. Everybody was partying drunk and stupid, and they were all home sleeping it off. And my friend Larry gets out of the truck. He's like, "What do you mean? The state police told us to go this way. And didn't they tell you? And they're like, tell us what? This thing was going through." From that point forward, the cop turns his lights on and gave us an escort to Hellertown. He radios ahead to Hellertown, and as the Bethlehem Township or Bethlehem City Police made the U-turn, waved, went whoop whoop, the Hellertown Police Department got in front of me and Larry and escorted us through the town. There were cones set up for some reason, I don't know, for the crosswalks or whatever. The cop would stop, get out, move the cone over, wait, then we would go past, and he escorted us all the way up. Before you know it, there's another cop behind us putting them back. We got all the way through the Hellertown, and I made it home. It was awesome. It was a 4-hour trip. It was a lot of fun, that trip. My God, we had the cops after us. Jesus Christ. I bet there's not too many farmers that could say they drove a combine through the city, and I mean the city of Bethlehem. And we're roaring down there. That Cat 3208 is just screaming down through there. I think that has a 3208. No, that doesn't have a 3208 in it. That's got the 7.8 liter in it. That's a good engine, by the way. Those are great motors. That thing screams, though. Holy hell. Oh, well. Anyway, 42 minutes of yammering on about this stuff and stories and stuff like that. And I don't think I even really talked about much other than whatever. So I hope you enjoyed it. If not, you can leave a comment saying that you didn't enjoy it. If you did enjoy it, go ahead and leave a comment saying you did. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, because Gobble My Balls is not giving me the subscribers. It says that I gain 400 subscribers a month, and I've been at 10,400 subscribers now for almost a month and a half. Yeah. And I gain like 400 a month. And it's like, what the hoo-ha is going on? And that's just this channel. But anyways, thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe for more. Don't forget to check out One Lonely Farmer if you haven't heard of me there yet, which is kind of weird because you see that thing? I've passed 100,000 subscribers on that one a while back. Oh, thanks again.